What's going on there, everyone? Well, I gotta say, I gotta give Mexico mad props. I spoke on it a little bit in a previous video earlier this week, but when it comes to immigration, Mexico's really stepping up. You know, they're doing a much better job than our neighbors to the north, who keep bringing in fighters from the Middle East for some reason. So I don't know what that's all about, but that's Justin Trudeau for you. He's an idiot. He's a left-wing freak is what he is. Super left-wing. But let's get into the story. Mexico announced that it deported over 300 Indian nationals via airplane, an unprecedented type of repatriation by the Mexican government as it continues to crack down on illegal immigration. Good job. The National Immigration Institute, and the department that manages Mexico's immigration affairs, announced late Wednesday that it flew 311 Indian nationals from Toluca, Mexico to New Delhi, India. The move is being hailed by the Mexican government as the first of its kind and further illustrates its efforts to stop the flow of illegal migrants reaching the U.S. southern border. As an American, I say thank you, Mexico. I mean, goodness, y'all are doing an awesome job. Awesome job. The Indian nationals, 310 of whom were men and one woman, were apprehended over a period of time by the government officials from across the country, and were then concentrated, in eastern Mexican state of Veracruz. Ultimately, they were directed to board a 747 Boeing aircraft out of the Toluca airport and depart for India's capital city, according to the government statement. The mass deportation marked the latest move by President Andres Manuel Lopez Obrador's administration's clampdown on illegal immigration, and his administration has developed a much stronger relationship with the White House since the start of the current border crisis. The Mexican National Guard over the weekend stopped and turned around a massive caravan heading for the U.S. This is what I made a video on previously. A migrant caravan of around 2,000 people set foot from southern Mexican city of Tapachula over the weekend, heading northward towards the U.S. border. However, about 20 miles into their journey, they were greeted by hundreds of Mexican military police and National Guardsmen who forced them back on buses back to the south. And the media was going crazy saying, oh, they arrested all these migrants, when there was no arrest. It was just, hey, what are you doing? We told you to wait here. You're not doing what we're asking of you, so we're going to take you back to that spot. Was no arrest, but you know, the legacy media has to sit there and try to make something out of nothing for they can get clicks, likes, and all that, you know, ratings. Bunch of crap. Quote, this is an example where Mexico has stepped up. I mean, they really are acting as true partners, seeing this as a regional crisis. Mark Morgan, acting Commissioner of Customs and Border Protection, said Tuesday about the recent surge in cooperation. This is another example where Mexico is stepping up and doing exactly as they promised they would. That's why I'm saying we need to be shouting from the rooftops of thank you to Mexico. They're doing America a huge solid. We know for years and years and years, decades, Mexico would just turn a blind eye to immigrants going through their country to get to ours. Well, that seems to have changed, finally. And I guarantee that wouldn't have happened if it wasn't for Trump. Guarantee that wouldn't have happened if it wasn't for Trump. Because Trump would have been the only person saying, hey, I will tariff the bejesus out of you if you do not do your part in keeping people out of our country, coming from your country. Whether they're, you know, citizens of your country or not. They're still getting through your country. But we also never saw such drastic numbers of immigrants at one time. It would usually be a dozen here, a couple dozen here, something like that. But now we're seeing them come in the hundreds of thousands. At one point, we were in the hundreds of thousands. It was insane. It was insane. But much respect to Mexico for actually helping us contain this crazy, crazy problem. Much of the cooperation from Mexico comes as their government leaders struck a deal with the Trump administration in June. Faced with the threat of tariffs on their products to the U.S., Mexico agreed to dramatically ramp up enforcement along its borders. and is holding thousands of U.S. asylum seekers. While Central American families have made up the bulk of the illegal immigration appearing before the southern border, there have been migrants from all across the world traveling through Mexico in hopes of reaching the U.S., some with good intentions and some with bad intentions. There have been, for example, notable surges of African and Bangladeshi migrants reported by Border Patrol, and also high rates of migrants from Asia and the Caribbean in recent times. Yeah, solid Mexico. Thank you from the bottom of my heart as an American citizen, an American patriot. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for helping us secure our borders. As you can see here, we have people from Africa, India, Asia, the Caribbean, South America. We got people from everywhere trying to get to this country for mainly economic reasons. There's ways to go about getting into our country legally. They should follow our laws. I mean, wouldn't that be correct to assume that people who want to come here should follow our laws to get here? I would think so. Anybody, that's thinking coming from a common sense view would see that. But we got to deal with people that are activists, and activists are not common sense thinkers, not at all. They think to the extreme of everything. I mean, just look at the climate change people. In London this week, you had a bunch of climate change activists try to jump on top of the trains and trolleys there, and the people in London drug them off the tops and kind of beat them up real good. People aren't down with that foolishness, man. It's not a way to get your point across either. But back to this, amazing job Mexico is doing. And Mexico, it's not a bad place. And it has often told these people, hey, you can apply to become a Mexican citizen if you would like. If you're trying to escape your place for fear of retribution or whatever, you can be a Mexican citizen, but the migrants don't want that. No. Which is ridiculous, because Mexico's a pretty safe place. They have about 3 states down there in Mexico that are very problematic, mainly because of us Americans and our love for avocados. So the cartels, whenever Mexico has something really good going for them, the cartels get involved. And the local governments there let them do whatever they please. There are a few places that fight back to little success, but keep fighting. But yeah, a lot of the pretty much all the cartel problems in Mexico are because of Americans. Because we're greedy and we want what they got. And whenever the cartels see someone making good business, they try to do whatever they can to take it over. And then they turn it nasty. They make it turns into like blood avocados instead of a regular avocado. But avocados are kind of nasty, in my opinion. They're just a fatty vegetable. Or fruit. Or berry. They could be a berry. I'm not sure. But I digress. I'd love to hear your comments on this. Mexico seems to be stepping it up a lot. Like, much more than anticipated. And I think it's an awesome thing. I think, to me, it's much appreciated because, we can't do but so much. We have to be within our borders. So to have them helping on the other side of the border really, really is an amazing thing, and it's a huge help. And they have been awesome about it, and if they continue this, I see nothing but positive things for U.S.-Mexico relations in the long term. Because it shows they are willing to do something they may not have been willing to do before. And they've done it, and it's working, and it's much appreciated. As always, like, share, and subscribe. I will catch y'all on the flip side.